What is up, YouTube? How you guys doing? Live right now for Supreme Sports Live, episode number 2. I'm back with my buddy over there, Cellx23, or GI. He's
what up?
got a little bit of camera trouble going on there for GI, but
Having some issues, man.
he's a little grainy, but he's here. His audio's good, everything's good, so we can still see him pretty good, so it's all right.
I'm on the grain. I blame it on Irma.
So how y'all doing? Craig McDaniel says he hasn't seen me since the Mayweather discussion. Listen, guys, I was actually on this morning, okay? And I showed off like, I don't know, 6 or something IPTV services. And let me tell you guys what happened to me, okay? FA Premier League, I put my volume on nothing, okay? But when I went into, I think it was Limitless V1. It was either V1 or V2. I clicked on a EPL game, played it for 13 seconds with no sound. They claimed copyright on my entire video. So I got to go redo all of that, all right? Take that part out, re-upload it. So you'll get that stuff online tomorrow. It was up for a while, and then they put this copyright claim in. And I'm like, there was no sound. It was 13 seconds. There wasn't even part of the game was just like, it was a guy on the sideline, like out of bounds. There wasn't, nobody was kicking a ball. There was nothing happening, and it was 13 seconds, and I switched the channel with no sound. So.
Oh, I see that.
Jim,
I see the. What's up, bro? I thought you said McGregor was gonna win.
Who said that? Nobody said that.
I didn't say that.
If you go back and watch it, did I say that? I didn't say that. I said I expect I root for McGregor to win. I want him to win, but I fully expect Mayweather to win. Yo, what's up, Yo? Yeah, FA Premier sucks. I agree. I didn't, I had no intention of showing their match. I didn't show a match of theirs. There was no score. I don't even know what teams were playing. I just switched the channel and no sound, no nothing, and they still bagged it up. Like, really?
I had a feeling they were gonna do that, but you know how they are.
Guys, how's the sound? Is it all right? Do we sound okay? Because I kind of got to put up my speakers a little bit so that I can hear him talking. But I want to make sure that we both sound okay volume-wise. Just let us know in the chat. But yeah, guys, that's the deal. So if any of you guys are watching the video this morning, and you don't see it up there now, it's because that's what they hit me with. It was FA Premier League. And it was for 13 seconds of absolutely nothing happening. Literally. It was a guy standing on the sideline. That's it. There was no actual soccer being played at all. Like,
it's too early to predict that Graham Ireland. We might get adverts. Who knows?
Oh, he's asking about the adverts,
my
right?
systems here, but I'm trying to fix stuff here, and it's not working.
Yeah, guys, if you see me staring all the way over here, I gotta go like kind of far over because I'm trying to work this screen. I have to keep Cellx23's screen space available, and it's kind of crazy. Like, even though I got all this monitor space, I still run out of space. And someone asked if we're showing the fight. No, before we get any copyright strikes again, we're not showing the fight.
Why not?
We're just talking about it.
Yeah, we have I've had a lot of changes here in the past few weeks. Irma came through, visited, and put our power out. So we're out of power. I put everything up, so nothing is damaged. I guess the camera might have gotten damaged, but yeah, everything else is good. And just in time for Triple G versus Canelo, the power came back. We got power back the day before yesterday. So we're winging it.
Oh man, why did it do that? Alright, listen guys, we're gonna definitely go over Canelo Triple G, right? Bruce Lee fans, yes, I love Bruce Lee.
Yep, same here.
what do I suggest for the fight tonight on Titanium? I suggest just clicking all over the place. Try anything that says pay-per-view events. Try Goodfellas. Try what's the other one? Made in Canada, Mick. They all have little pay-per-view sections, but if you're trying to go free, then he says he's not paying. Yeah, UFC TV crashed me too, but I got a refund, so should be all right.
I ordered UFC TV the same day as the
it worked for you, right?
Fight, and it really didn't work too well. It was very laggy. So as soon as the fight ended, I immediately canceled it. I wasn't too happy with it.
Yeah, I couldn't get on at all where I was at, you know, and it's crazy. Guys, before we go into Canelo Triple G, I want to mention that there is a fight night tonight, which is Rockhold versus Branch. Might as well get that you know, out of the way real quick because we do talk about all kinds of fighting. Yeah, check Bob Unleashed. Yo-Yo said also that's very true. It's boxing match. Go to Bob Unleashed. Go into Sheepo Boxing Hits and check for the live stream there. Should be pretty good too.
Yep. And if you can't get it, or if it's lagging when you're trying to stream it, you can always go to HBO and order it. Or ringtv.com is trying to
oh yeah, I saw that, right?
Run that fight, so you can order it from there directly.
All right, so I want to go into. It's a pretty small card overall. All right. For where is that? Hold on.
For the UFC match. Yeah, I saw that. It's not a big card. I saw did see a few people that I like.
No, there's good fighters in there. My thing was I just wanted to. Why does it do that? The thing that pisses me off for some reason is that when I go to where is it? Let me see.
Interesting. I put my picks in and then it disappeared in UFC Pick'em.
Yeah, so
if you guys don't use that, we use UFC Pick'em to place our bets. It's
yeah, it's like a fantasy where you pick everything, who's gonna win and what round, how they're gonna win. But just to go over this card real quick, because I don't want to stay on it too long. I know everybody wants to talk about Canelo, but that is on tonight. What I'm gonna do tonight, because most of the time, I mean, for me, boxing undercards usually stink. You don't find too many good fights on the undercard. So I'll watch this UFC tonight, starting at 7 on Fox Sports 1, 7 p.m. Eastern, until Canelo Triple G comes, and then I'll watch that. So let's talk about this card real quick. Starting on Fox Sports 1, right? There's you have Gilbert Burns versus Jason Sago, and that should be, you know, it's actually not a bad card, guys. This is like a lot of guys that don't have you know, big name recognition but have decent records at this point, like pro records. So it's kind of cool. It should be some pretty good decent fights. Also on there, one that I'm really interested in is Uriah Hall versus Krzysztof Jotko. That's a really how do you say? A lot of people, I mean, everybody knows Uriah Hall very well. Not a lot of people know Jotko, but Jotko can bang, man. So it's very interesting. He's 19-2. He generally, you know, most of the time goes to decision, but he's got a good chin. He throws a lot of shots. It should be a pretty interesting fight too. But I mean, the main thing, this all on Fox Sports 1 prelims. The whole card is on Fox Sports 1, but you still have 4 prelims, right? I would say all of the prelims are generally decent fights. These guys they should bring an interesting some interesting fights. You have Gilbert Burns, Jason Sago, Jotko versus Uriah Hall, Anthony Hamilton versus Daniel Spitz, and Tony Martin versus I can't say his name so well. Oliver Aubin Mercier. I'm not too good with them French names. But that's your Fox Sports 1 prelims. What really excites me a lot on this card, though, is Gregor Gillespie. A lot of people don't know so well who Gregor Gillespie is, but he's fighting Jason Gonzalez, who, by the way, if you watched Ultimate Fighter maybe
really good
a few seasons ago, Jason Gonzalez is pretty good. But even more impressive than Jason Gonzalez was his sister. Oh man, was she hot! But but yeah,
who do you have on that? Who do you have in that one?
I got to go with Gregor Gillespie. I think Gregor Gillespie is possibly he's kind of unknown to a lot of, unless you're like a hardcore fan. He's not as well known anyway. But Gregor Gillespie, I think, has a shot to be something big in UFC. Jason Gonzalez, decent, but
I picked Jason to be the he's the big underdog, so I'm going with Jason on this one. I always pick underdog here and there. He's the one I'm picking in this one. I'm saying TKO in the second round, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of think similar fashion, but TKO the other way.
I mean, the picks are ridiculous. It's 78% of the people picking actually went for Gillespie, as opposed to Jason, who only has 22% of the votes. So if I do get that win, that's going to be a lot of nice points for me.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, the last 4 fights are the ones that interest me most, so I'll spend a little bit of time on them. We talk about Gillespie. I definitely watch out for him, Gregor Gillespie, tonight. I mean, if he loses, whatever. But I really, just my eye watching him, I feel like he can do something big in UFC. He can be something special, fight-wise, talent-wise. Then you go to Hector Lombard versus Anthony Smith after that. That fight is interesting to me. A lot of people know who Hector Lombard is. Anthony Smith, not quite as popular in general, although both of them have very large records in general. They've been around a long time. But I think Hector Lombard is a little bit more popular, at least here in the U.S. But Anthony Smith, I mean, he's also from the U.S. He's bigger. He's got a longer reach. He's younger. Hector Lombard is a brutal fighter. Very, in your face, strong. But I'm going with Anthony Smith in this fight. Most people aren't, but I actually think Anthony Smith is going to win. And I have him winning by knockout. I think either one of them is going to win by knockout, but I'm going with Smith in this fight. But I think that should be a good fight.
I'm going with Smith on this too, but I'm getting a decision win out of this one. I think he's going to be able to outlast Lombard because it's just the way that Lombard is. He's a tough guy and he likes to go for knockouts, and he might tire out, and that's when Anthony Smith's going to be able to recover and get his A game back. Yeah. And finish the fight with a decision win.
Next fight, Platinum Mike Perry versus Alex Reyes. This is a fight that
Jesus.
I gotta agree with the general public. I'm going, Platinum Mike Perry by knockout. Mike Perry's a beast, man.
They have Mike Perry by 92%.
Yeah, 92% picks, but 83% by knockout. I'm actually going with the consensus on that one.
What round did you pick?
I believe I picked first. if I remember correctly, I think I picked first round.
I went for round 2. I'm going for round 2.
I mean, look at it this way, right? Both of these guys are bangers, but Perry's fought the better fighters to some extent. Yeah. But Mike Perry is 10-1, 100% KO ratio. He's not, every win has been by knockout. So, and then we go to the main event. It's Luke Rockhold versus David Branch. That's a really good fight, actually. Branch is a pretty big underdog in this fight, but he's better than people think, I think. Branch has been around a long time, just not so much in the UFC. He was, and then he ended up out of the UFC again because he came in a bit too young, a bit too green, and lost some fights and didn't look so good. But he's since went on, tear to other places. He became a 2-division champion in other areas, other promotions, and intangibles, they're about the same. Just everything is similar, very similar. Except Branch is kind of knocked a little bit as a guy that's a little boring sometimes.
Yeah.
Because he fights kind of cautiously, but I think he fights smart. You know, is it he doesn't just go out and try to bang. You know, when main events, a lot of people look at you know, oh, we just want to bang all the time. But I actually think when it comes to Rockhold, he's probably going to bang a bit. It leans itself towards a fight that would go towards banging. I think they'll stand up and throw. For this one, I mean I like Branch as far as a fighter in general. I think he's better than people give him credit for, but I still think Luke Rockhold takes the fight. But I also think that Rockhold is probably gonna win by decision. If not, maybe a late round sub. But that's
I'm going for an early knockout here with Rockhold. I think Rockhold is gonna be able to get an early knockout out of this. It's his time. It's his opportunity. It's really all the other fights in this lineup is not as big as this one is gonna be. So he's got more pressure to, you know, make a show, make a scene, and yeah, I think I'm going for a knockout in the second round. Luke Rockhold.
all right. Well, I mean that kind of covers that. Sorry, I'm putting up the little pop up there on UGI. That covers that. Yeah, see, Chad says Rockhold by submission. I could see that. Rockhold by sub, maybe in anywhere from late round 3 to through round 5 in that area, or just by decision. I don't think he'll catch him too early. Branch is good. Branch is not a bad fighter at all. But we'll get off that, and we can go ahead and get on to Triple G and Canelo, right? Because, I mean, that's the big one today. So
now, what happened? Because I've seen some people say mention the Mayweather and McGregor fight, and we never spoke about that. And what did you think about the fight?
All right, so I actually thought that the fight pretty much went the way I kind of thought it would. You know, I obviously was rooting for McGregor, but I said from the beginning in a boxing match I think Floyd would win. You know, Floyd talked a lot of garbage about how he wasn't gonna, you know, he was gonna never take a step back and he's gonna come forward. But in the beginning of the fight, he wasn't doing that at all. In the beginning of the fight, he was covering up and, you know, he was fighting smart. He was letting McGregor throw more shots. However, Floyd got caught with a lot more shots than I think he wanted to, or he thought he was going to get caught with, because McGregor was a lot better of a striker than he realized. Because McGregor, I think, caught Floyd with more shots. He hit Floyd more than Pacquiao did in 10 rounds, and Pacquiao's fight went 12 rounds. So that says a lot. He landed more than Cotto, landed more than Pacquiao, and those guys went 12 rounds. And those are excellent A-class boxers, you know. So, like I was saying from the beginning, you know, Floyd wasn't going to come forward in the beginning at all. He wasn't coming forward in rounds 1, 2, and 3. He came forward a little bit in round 4. He started to, you know, turn it back up. I felt like McGregor probably took round 8 again, but then after that it was downhill. When I saw McGregor in round 10 finally he looked like he tried to underhook Floyd in the middle of the ring. I was like, oh, he has no gas left. But what I did say from the beginning, and, you know, ran true, is that Conor McGregor was a much better boxer with much better boxing skills and actually belonged in a ring just based off of his MMA skills. He was able to translate that with one boxing training camp. And I look at that fight and I say, if that wasn't Floyd Mayweather's the best, right? He's the best defensive fighter there is. At least you got to give him that much. And he got hit more than he ever got hit. You know, and from a guy that never fought a professional boxing match and so many people said didn't belong in a ring at all. But I think that's, you know, a farce to say something like that. I think he proved that it was a farce. I think if McGregor got in the ring tomorrow with somebody like, what's his face? The one that's talking all that nonsense, Paulie Malignaggi, you'd see a much different fight. Paulie Malignaggi is not Floyd Mayweather. You know, I think McGregor could probably knock him out. He might even be able to beat Paulie Malignaggi at this point in Paulie's career. I mean, Paulie's basically retired, but, you know, if Paulie wants to keep talking, he just wants the money. That's what he wants. You know, but thank you, Yo-Yo. I appreciate Yo-Yo sending over super chats.
I think with what happened in that fight was what I basically said was gonna happen. Floyd was gonna tire him out, and if McGregor didn't get the job done by the 5th round, it was gonna be all Floyd.
Yeah, I mean McGregor.
That's exactly what happened. By the end, he was too tired. He was flustered.
Potelu said to make sure everybody realizes he landed more than Canelo too. Yeah, he landed more than Cotto, more than Canelo, more than Pacquiao.
He did land more than Canelo, but also it is a fact. It is true that Floyd did come forward more in this fight than he did against Canelo or against Manny or against.
Well, he did, but he waited. He waited until Conor was tired to do it. All the shit he was talking was, I'm not gonna take one step backwards, and I knew that was a lie. You know what I mean? You're not gonna go walking in round 1, rushing right at Conor McGregor. That's how you get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? He's not stupid. You know,
yeah, I mean, you saw him shell up, come in, put more pressure on McGregor.
Yeah.
And McGregor tried his best. I give him all the props. Listen. He tried his best. I don't think he should have kept doing the spin on Floyd, because I was taking a lot of gas out of him. But
he kept taking his back, but I think it was kind of instinct, you know?
I guess it was something that was just an instinct.
Yeah. I mean, I think so too.
Because that's really what took a lot of his gas. If you look at the fight, he spinned him about 5 or 6 times in that match, and of course the ref was gonna come. Floyd was gonna be smart about it and to give him his back and duck
what
down.
What is Craig saying?
The ref was gonna separate him, and Floyd was gonna go back and do it again and frustrate him around the 4th or 5th. I think it was when he gave him the push. To edge him a little bit more, get him more aggravated, and it worked to Floyd's favor. I mean,
I love the disrespect still coming in the chat. Floyd carried the fight. Craig saying that he took McGregor's best shots. Like, McGregor never really threw power punches, hard ones. Early in the fight, in the first round, he threw a couple pretty hard, but he looked like, okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to catch him clean. I'm going to try to conserve energy and hopefully win a boxing match. I think that was a mistake on his part, I believe, but because at the end of the day, he was still tired anyway. But he never threw anything, that in the same type of fashion he threw it in MMA. I didn't really see anything thrown with that kind of ferocity on the end of the shots there. If you want to say Floyd carried the fight, I'm not really sure how you can say that, because if Conor wasn't coming forward in the first 3.5 rounds, there was no fight. Conor made the fight in the early part of the fight. Floyd figured out, what to do with Conor, watched him while he was getting hit, and he was getting hit. Again, don't take anything away from the man. You have no leg to stand on when the man landed more than 3 of the best boxers of this generation. He landed more shots on Floyd Mayweather than literally the 3 best fighters Floyd's ever faced. All right? So you can't say that the man doesn't belong in there and Floyd carried the fight, blah, blah, blah. That's nonsense. Floyd did what Floyd does. He shelled up. He tried to play defense early. He got caught more times than he would like, and he admitted it after the fight. He gave Conor tons of respect, so I don't even understand why Floyd fans are not giving Conor the respect he deserves at all. If Floyd usually doesn't give anybody respect, and he was very respectful of Conor after the fight. And in subsequent interviews afterwards, he said that Conor was better than he expected. So I'm kind of surprised that the Floyd fans are so against it. I expected kind of what happened. I just thought maybe, and again, Floyd got the TKO, but Floyd didn't get a KO. Floyd didn't knock anyone out. Floyd never actually hurt him. He wasn't mentally stunned. He was tired. So Floyd hit him with everything but the kitchen sink. And like I said, McGregor could eat those shots all day because he takes shots much harder from other people. But, he's the better boxer. You switch it around, you put him in the cage, and it's another story. But the guy comes into the boxing ring, and that's what happens. It was a good fight, though. I enjoyed it. I thought for what it was a high-action fight. We saw the best Floyd we've seen in a long time. I loved watching Floyd move forward, later in the fight. G.I., if you're actually talking, you don't have no sound.
No, I'm not talking.
Oh, I see you moving your mouth, so I'm like, oh, did you lose your sound? I thought it was an excellent fight. Everybody said it was going to be a bullshit fight, basically, and not a real fight at all. Blah blah blah. But it was an excellent fight. Was it I don't know how you say it.
I think you can give McGregor the credit, you know, for going in there and fighting and no, I'm sorry, not fighting, boxing, and getting into a match where he's not using you know, his kicks, his takedowns, just being feeling kind of awkward because even his stance looked pretty awkward.
Yeah.
I do give him credit for doing that, but I also give credit to Floyd for doing what the fans wanted him to do, which was get at McGregor, not as much as we of course would expect for him to do or want him to do, but enough for him to be able to give the fans a little bit of what they wanted and also keep himself safe and win the bout at the end of the day.
Yeah. He fought smart.
He fought very smart. He got the points that he needed. And I actually don't even think that he was going for a TKO, but the opportunity arose.
He definitely was going for it in the 10th. That's for sure.
Yeah, the opportunity arose, and that was it. He was gonna take it, get on him, give him more pressure, where McGregor couldn't keep up with his stamina and just drop. And that's exactly what happened. So, you know,
what I'm getting,
McGregor, I think, with a lot more training, if he wanted to go into boxing, a lot more training, he would be very good. I don't know why he didn't try and just, because I've seen him in the UFC, just straight up, you know, just stand up fighting. Yeah. I've seen him do it just fine and quick too. But I guess because he tried to get that boxing stance in, and he actually reminded me of those old school boxers.
Exactly. You know, like
it just felt very weird when he was trying to do it. But I think if he would have stayed the way that he usually fights, he would have done a lot better, because he would have been more loose, more comfortable, and he wouldn't have exerted as much energy as he did when he got that fight. But I mean, it is what it is, guys. I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. I see I got the Floyd fans and the McGregor fans going.
Yeah, they're going at it over there. I mean, at the end of the day, this is what I want to say about the fight more than anything. It was a lot better than all the boxing pundits thought it was going to be when they said that it's not even going to be a fight. What happened to Max Kellerman? Connor's not even going to hit him once. Really? Really? And there was a bunch of you guys out there, fans, saying the same nonsense. Connor's not even going to hit him once. Connor hit him a whole lot. He hit him a whole lot more than Pacquiao, more than Cotto, more than Canelo. And then you get the more nonsense, right? That's because Floyd let him. Get the hell out of here. Floyd doesn't let anybody hit him. Floyd stays still and does what he does early. He did the same thing to everybody else that we mentioned on the list. Floyd doesn't move a lot early. He tries to shell up. It's just Conor was actually a better striker than those guys and got in more shots. You know, and that's basically what happened. But at the end of the day, none of that matters. Floyd fought a smart fight. He won the fight. Conor fought a pretty smart fight and a pretty damn good fight for a guy that's 0-0-0 in boxing. That was a damn good performance for a guy that never fought a single professional fight. Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, at the end of that fight, had nothing but respect for each other. I watched the whole post-fight press conference, too. It was like 3 damn hours long. Those two guys were up there shaking hands, laughing, joking. Nothing but respect for each other after that fight. You know, so... Jimmy's still going. A younger Floyd would have knocked Conor out. Floyd hasn't knocked anybody out in 10, 12 years, bro. What are you talking about? How young does he have to be? 20?
I think a pretty boy Floyd would have knocked him out.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty boy Floyd, maybe.
Money Mayweather would have.
But you don't get more power, Jimmy. You have the power you have. That's it. He didn't lose power. Power is the last thing to go when you get old. He don't have power. He never did. When he was pretty boy Floyd, he had a bit more because he was smaller. And that was more of his natural frame. He kept going up in weight and up in weight. That power don't travel with you. You know,
and it was a more aggressive. He was a more aggressive fighter too, a boxer, a more aggressive boxer too. So you know, whenever he would lay those punches at you or those counters, it was not only countering punches, but he was very offensive when he was Pretty Boy Floyd. Now once he went into Money Mayweather mode, he was all defense and counter punches. That's where it switched. But yeah, I think Floyd Pretty Boy could have gave him a whooping.
Yeah, I mean, no question. Look, if you're talking about Floyd at 28 versus Conor at 28 in a boxing match, Of course, the Floyd would have been more dominant, no question. But you know, that's not what we're looking at. So, you know,
it is.
Trying to speculate who wins, Mike Tyson or Muhammad
speculate
Ali.
all we want.
We could talk about that all day, right? Who's gonna win, Mike Tyson versus Muhammad Ali in their prime? We don't know.
Octagon, it's not gonna happen. Floyd is a businessman. It's not gonna happen. He went where the money was. He saw the opportunity. He saw McGregor wanted it. I mean, McGregor's getting paid anyway, so.
I'm staying away from Jimmy's comments here. Jimmy's going off the wall there. Talking about it was a race fight. No, it was a good fight, Jimmy. It doesn't matter what the race is of the fighters. We're here to talk about fighting, period. It was a good fight. That's it.
A race fight.
Craig says, can I seriously tell him that if the ref would have let that go, that Floyd would have... I can't say that. Conor himself said maybe he would have, but he wanted to get knocked out if that was the case. But again, if he was going to get knocked out, it was because of exhaustion, not because he was actually hurt. He's clear-headed. He was just exhausted.
Yeah, but he's right too. I mean, he anything can knock you out. Exhaustion, a beat down, a really good one-punch hit, a Cinderella punch, but it is all still a knockout. So, do I think he would have knocked him out after that round? Yeah, definitely, because Floyd was already going for it at the end, and then they stopped it. If he would have gotten into the next round, he would have just kept going at him where he couldn't catch his breath.
I got to mention this real quick because Jimmy's saying Conor made it about race. No, he didn't. Floyd's the one that said that Conor was a racist. Conor never actually was ever heard saying what Floyd said he said. He never called him a monkey or whatever.
When Conor said, "Dance for me, boy," and things. That whole thing that went around ESPN.
Yeah, but that's not even what it was about. Like they did say that, but you got to remember, Conor McGregor is from a whole other country. You know, it's a little bit different. The word "boy" is not used there in the same way in Ireland. And
boy is more like you're a chump. If you're a boy, you're a chump.
That you know, it's not used in the same way. But what Floyd did, Floyd came out and said that Conor called African Americans monkeys, or called him a monkey or something like that. The only thing he said, he talked to two white guys that were Floyd's bodyguards and called them juice head monkeys. Those were two white guys that looked like they were on steroids that he was cursing at. Nothing to do with race. And Conor was very, very upset. Conor was really upset that Floyd did that. He said that was, you know, I understand you want to sell a fight, whatever, but that's not the way to sell it. So I thought Conor was all class in the way he handled himself there. And somebody else said, you know, I get it. You guys are Conor fans. Yeah, I'm a Conor fan, but you know, do I like Floyd's fighting style? No, but I'm completely objective. Floyd won a fight. He fought a smart fight. Conor just fought better than a lot of people wanted to give him credit for, and for some reason, a lot of boxing fans that are Floyd fans seem to still not want to give him the credit for it for some reason. I don't know why.
See, I like Conor McGregor. I like Pretty Boy Floyd. I don't like Money Mayweather, but. When this boxing match came up, I said, no, he's not gonna win. Floyd's gonna beat him. And again, I don't like Money Mayweather, but I knew that the circumstances, Conor wasn't gonna be able to beat him. And I don't think it has anything to do with who you like. It's just the difference of the two sports.
Yeah,
you know, he had to keep up with that stamina, and he wasn't able to.
He's also, you know, they're definitely different. You know what I mean? So it's, you know, it was a good fight though. At the end of the day, what I really liked about it the most was that when the fight was said and done, I felt like Floyd Mayweather fought the best fight I've seen him fight in a long time. He had to be aggressive. He had to come out, and I liked him being more aggressive, right? And then. On top of that, I thought Conor McGregor made a very good account of himself for a guy that never fought a professional boxing match. He went in there and handled his business. And to go 10 rounds with supposedly TBE, right, the best ever, when you are 0-0-0, you can't complain about that. You know what I mean? That's a good night for Conor McGregor. Win, lose, or draw, it's a good night. But what I really, really liked the most was after the fight, I had never seen... Conor, win, lose, or draw is after a fight, generally, especially in a loss, though, is very humble. It's surprising. Most people don't realize that about him because he's so brash, but that's promoting beforehand.
Yeah, it's promotion. It's complete promotion.
When he loses, he gives all the credit in the world, and you know, he doesn't make excuses. You know, and he was the same way with Floyd. But what I really like to see was Floyd was so, you know, appreciative of Conor as well, and said that Conor did, you know, was better than he thought. He gave him a lot of respect, and they were nothing but cordial to each other. And I think, considering what we saw on the pre-fight press tour, and all of the hoopla that came about from all of that, you know, the Paulie Malignaggi stuff, the ending to me afterwards, the way that they both respected each other was highly commendable, and I enjoyed it. So
yeah. So Potelou mentioned that it wasn't a fight, it was a boxing match.
Oh man.
So I wanted to touch on that. Potelou here, he's one of our Fight Rank guys. Usually talk about sports all together in one place. As of late, not live as of late, but one of the things he points out is that he says that boxing is not fighting, MMA is fighting. I don't agree with that.
You're gonna make him go crazy in the chat now.
I think they're both and they're both fighting. If you get punched in the face, I think you're fighting.
Well, I think at the end of the day, because we were talking about this yesterday, when I think it was just the choice of words and the way that it came about wasn't what was actually meant. And what he was saying is that, you know, if you have a boxing match, that's one art form of fighting. It's one style of fighting, and it has rules. Whereas, you know, an MMA is multiple styles of fighting. So it's the closest sanctioned thing you have to a basically unsanctioned fight. Mm-hmm. So I agree with that. But, you know, if two guys are fighting, like, you know, like I was saying, what I said yesterday was Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti, right? That's a fight. You know, all three of those are fights. You know, yes, they're boxing matches, but those are fights.
And I mean, it can happen in both. It can happen in MMA too. I mean, I've seen some MMA matches that I'm like, Jesus Christ, this was I think I could have hit myself harder. This is so boring. So that wasn't a fight. That was more of a little bout of a grappling bout or whatever it was. But there's some that you see in like Superboy and Cub Swanson.
Yep.
That was a fight.
Yeah.
They went at it. They almost killed each other. Same thing with boxing. It's not about. I understand what he says is, because there's punching, there's kicking, there's grappling, there's tossing around. So it's more of a fighting.
Yeah, see, the way he put it right now in the chat, I can sort of understand what he says. A boxing match. Boxing is an aspect of fighting, a part of fighting, but not an actual fight. I get what he's trying to say, but I think it's the usage of the word fight.
That's wrong. Yeah.
It's not a fight because you're not going bare knuckles fighting somebody, or, you know, you have all these rules in place, which makes it not a fight by the definition of, like, you know, unsanctioned type of fight. Of course, you know, but you know, these guys are, there goes Julio Hernandez, MMA guys don't respect boxing. That's not true at all. I think a lot of boxing guys don't respect MMA as well. I think that some on both sides don't respect each other.
Yeah, there's two types of fans in both sports. You know, you have the fanatic fans that, you know, refuse to see other things, and then you have the fans of combat sports itself. Like I'm a fan of combat sports, so I love boxing. I grew up with boxing. I trained boxing. I did 5 years of it. So that's my main love. That's my main thing. So I love that, and I understand it when I'm watching it. Even a boring fight, I understand what each fighter is trying to do to get the win. But MMA fanatic fans refuse to see it. So because they're so used to, you know, it's somebody's gonna get knocked the hell out. Somebody's gonna get choked out. Certain people will watch the fight just to see a knockout, kind of like certain fans will watch boxing just to see Mike Tyson knock somebody out because they know they're going to get a knockout.
Yeah. As
opposed to regular fans who understand the sport and they understand the physics of it. What's this guy got to do to get this win? What's the other guy got to do in order to get the win? Same thing with MMA. You see some fighters that they're concentrating on this guy's leg because they know that leg is the target, and once they get that leg down and the other fighter can't do anything, then he's gonna finish him off. You see that science. That's the science. Everything what they call how they call boxing science,
I mean the sweet science.
The sweet science. Same thing goes for MMA. It's just there's a sweet science to it where you see and you'll notice the difference. There's one where there's two people trying to kill each other, and then there's the other where there's two people trying to specifically surgically decimate the other person. And you see the changes in the other fighter as this guy's chopping at the legs and or chopping at the top or taking him down, putting him, getting him tired. You understand? You're like, oh, I see what he's doing. And that's the difference. Yeah. So to me, they're all the same. It's just because there's one has more handicaps than the other. It doesn't make it any different. It doesn't make it any better or worse.
Yeah, it's different rule sets and different skill sets that you need for all of that stuff. I think at the end of the day, what it really matters Mark, no, I'm not, because 17.5 is already on the way. People asking me about 17.4 forks in the sports show. No, man, 17.5 has got nightlies going already. So by the time I make 17.4, 17.5 is out. And then everyone's gonna go, "Are you gonna make 17.5 forks?" I'll make it when Cody stops going up every month. When they leave it somewhere, I'll change it because it's work to make those forks. But I think at the end of the day, what really it is I think you have disrespectful guys on both sides. I thought Max Kellerman was extremely disrespectful and ignorant to the fact of who Conor McGregor was, to say he wouldn't land a single punch on Floyd Mayweather. And that's a guy that's in media, A lot of other boxers I heard doing interviews very disrespectful during that lead up to say, let's be serious here. Conor McGregor don't even belong there. Blah blah blah. There was a lot of guys that I don't think that it's necessarily out of hatred. I think it's out of a lack of knowledge. I think that maybe they don't follow the sport. They don't whatever. And then there's on the other side MMA guys who go over the top as well, and they at this point in time, I usually find an MMA fight more entertaining than a boxing fight, but that doesn't mean boxing is bad, per se. I like watching boxing too, like you said, Gi. There's a science to it. Sometimes it's boring, but you're watching and I grew up on boxing too. I've been watching boxing, man. I mean, I've been in MSG live watching boxing since I was 5 years old. For those of you guys that don't know, I mean, my parents were photographers. They did sports photography. My father knew boxers. I had friends that were boxers in my family. I've been watching boxing since I was 5 years old. So it's been a long time. I still love boxing. I do think that boxing lacks a lot of true stars these days, and it makes it a little harder. It's not in the best shape it's ever been in, but
as of late, it's getting a bit better.
Yeah, I think this year's been pretty good for boxing overall.
Yeah. Like I was just talking to you earlier about how they finally have the Lomachenko and the Rigo fight happening. So they're slowly putting all the best fighters against each other. I think it's because they realize that maybe they've strayed from the main rule of boxing, and that's to get all the best fighters against each other, and that's what keeps the money flowing. As soon as it hits the pockets, that's when they feel it. So
yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think fans, if you're a fan of boxing and you haven't been watching MMA, just watch it. And if you're a fan of MMA and you haven't been watching boxing, just watch it. But watch it objectively. Don't watch it and say, this is more boring than what I usually watch, or this is more violent than what I usually watch. I get boxing fans sometimes that go, I can't watch MMA, it's not for me, but I love boxing. Why? And most of the time the answer is, it's too violent. And I say that makes zero sense. You're watching a violent sport already. People get bloody and battered. More people die from boxing, because you get hit repeatedly. You have standard 8 counts. There's a lot of things in boxing that even though it has more rules, the big gloves, the standing 8 count, you know, a guy gets a concussion, he gets a chance to stand back up, take a standing 8 count and get hit again while he's already concussed. You don't get that in MMA. You go down, you get knocked out, it's over. That's it. So there are aspects that I think MMA is actually safer for the people that think, you know, it's too much of a brutal sport. I think long-term health-wise, it's probably a little bit safer because of generally how quickly a fight is over when a guy gets hurt. Whereas in boxing, you know, the rules state that you get, you know, a full 8. A referee can say, all right, hold on, and you get to standing 8 count, or you can go down. You have 10 seconds to get back up. And a guy may be able to clear his head enough to stand up straight in that time, but his concussion isn't gone. And now he's back out there and getting walloped again by these big, heavy gloves. And then he goes down again, and maybe he's a real tough SOB, and he gets up again. You know, and how many times is he going to get hit over and over and over again when he's already got a concussion? And in boxing, you're allowed to do that by the rules. You know, in MMA, that's not the case. You know, when you're done, you're done. That's it. These guys are still going on about that fight. Everybody's still going at. Listen, at the end of the day, Floyd deserves respect. He fought a smart fight. You know, he wins. Conor also deserves respect. He did better than almost anybody thought he was going to do. Not me. I thought he was going to do pretty good. You can go back and watch me say it. I thought he was going to do well early. You know, I thought he landed well. He was awkward. I said it would be an awkward puzzle Floyd had to figure out. And he did have to figure out the awkward puzzle. But I expected Floyd to figure it out and Floyd to win. So, you know, I think I think both guys deserve a lot of respect. Both sports deserve a lot of respect. Anybody that sits on the sideline and doesn't fight, period, whether it's boxing or MMA, to actually, like, you know, diss other fighters to some extent, like guys that actually lace up gloves and do it all the time, is kind of pointless. You know, you look silly to actually make fun of guys or say like they suck or whatever. Like, you know, throw on some gloves and go see what you can do then. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I always say that too. Like, it's easy for people to say and talk about it until they get in the ring, and then they realize that they're overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, you know, as much as I think Money Mayweather's fights are boring, the man deserves his respect. You know why? Because at the end of the day, everybody got in there. Canelo, Cotto, Pacquiao. I mean, I don't give too much on De La Hoya. You know, they were older. De La Hoya, Mosley, they should have fought years before that. But you know, plenty of those guys, they got in the ring with him. Some of them were undefeated, you know, at the time, or only had one loss or whatever the case may be, very, very few losses. And they felt like they had a chance. They got in there and they realized right away, I can't catch this guy. You know, no matter what I do, I can't hit him clean and I can't catch him. And if I can't hit him clean and I can't catch him, I can't win because he's too fast, his defense is too good. He can just outpoint me all day. Yeah, do I think that's the most exciting fight? Absolutely not. But listen, if you can win that way, you can win that way. Who am I to knock him for it? You know, it is what it is. You know, and the same thing goes for Conor. You know, the guy went out there, never fought a professional boxing match in his life, and went 10 rounds with a guy that's 50-0 now. Like, how can you let a guy? You got a guy going 10 rounds, right? You guys that are fans out there, this guy went 10 rounds, never fought a professional boxing match, went 10 rounds with the best of our generation, period. Okay? So, if that's the case, obviously he's not that bad. He's a pretty good fighter, point blank, whether it's boxing or not. He already proved that he was decent at boxing. He went 10 rounds with Floyd Mayweather. Like, that's not, you know, if you had put him in there against, I don't know who, you know, Paulie Malignaggi, what would we see? What do you think, G.I.? If that first fight was against Paulie instead of Floyd, same fight, what happens?
It would have been a way more entertaining fight, that's for sure. I just don't think that if it was his first fight, I just don't think that Conor would have still made it past the 10th round just because of exhaustion alone. I mean, Paulie would probably get hit a lot more because Paulie, he has a problem with defending himself. But again, you can't take it. You can't take a lot away from Paulie. He's pretty good.
He's slick too, but he's not Floyd. You know?
Yeah, he's not Floyd. No, he's not Floyd. But he can. The fact that he gets hit a lot
Julio,
Also,
I don't understand what he's trying to say. He keeps saying Floyd carried him. Sorry. Floyd did not carry anybody. Early in the fight, Conor was making the whole fight. Floyd carried nobody. He stayed still. He balled up. He did nothing for the first 3.5 rounds. Nothing at all. He barely threw any punches. So I don't know what do you mean by carry? I don't know what that means.
I think he's saying that Floyd had control of the fight the whole time, and he knew exactly what was going to happen.
He may have had control to some extent, sure, but Floyd had control. That's not the point. Floyd had control of all 49 prior fights, pretty much the whole time. So that doesn't mean Conor's bad. That means Conor did just as good as everybody else. The argument makes no sense, you know. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, he stays in front of everybody, Julio. He kept his guard up, and that's what he does. For the first couple of rounds, he figures them out. It's no different what he did. Does that mean he carried every fight he ever had, the whole fight? If he did, then God bless the guy, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. Floyd always stands there in the beginning of a fight, Julio. He says he never stands there. That's what he does all the time. Watch the Cotto fight. He actually stood still for Cotto even more than he stood still for McGregor.
Yeah, he lets you
swing, tries to get you tired. That's what he does all the time, dude. You got to go back and watch the fight.
For the first 4 rounds,
he figures you out.
Usually lets you swing, and then safely, of course, and then he
Julio, you can say no all you want, bro. If I could put them on YouTube, I'd put the fights up there right now and show you the first 2-3 rounds of every single Floyd Mayweather fight. The man does Philly shell defense, okay, and shoulder rolls, and leans up against the ropes and watches how you throw, studies you, and then picks you apart after that. That's what Money Mayweather does all the time.
Jeff, I think I would have taken.
You can say you watch as many fights as me, but you didn't. I don't even understand it, bro. Go watch them again. You're not watching the same fight. Are you trying to tell me that Floyd Mayweather, from the opening bell, runs in a circle for 12 rounds and never stops moving? That's what you're saying? Really? Exactly, Potalu. He's right. He said Floyd had control of them all. Canelo, Cotto, Mosley, Pacquiao. Floyd controlled those fights. It doesn't mean he carried them. What I'm saying, yes, and he did lose to Castillo years ago. I totally agree with that, Julio. He should have lost that fight.
And I think
he absolutely should have. But you're talking about Pretty Boy Floyd, not Money Mayweather. That was a long time ago.
What's up, Michael Cain?
Jimmy says 50-0. Okay. Yes, he's 50-0. I give the man his credit. You know, but yes, Julio says he ran. Yeah, he does run. That's what he does, but he doesn't run the whole fight. What he does is he stays out of range. He moves fast enough to stay out of range, but in the beginning of a fight, he uses defense. He uses it very well. He figures out the way guys throw punches, and then he picks them apart. Even if he does it with only jabs and makes it very boring, he outlands them, you know? I don't understand what Craig is saying.
I agree with that, Greg. With Greg McDaniel, I agree with that, but I don't think it was...
I think he cashed every check he ever...
I don't think Conor really cared if he won or lost the fight, because...
No, he went out to win.
It was $100 million. I don't think he was going to turn that down. I wouldn't go as far as saying Leonard and Hagler. This wasn't a Leonard versus Hagler at all.
No, Leonard Hagler was, that was epic. This was not quite epic.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I don't know what these guys are so angry about. I'm sitting here giving Floyd as much props as I possibly can. He's the greatest defensive fighter probably ever. You know, maybe... No, I wouldn't say... I'd probably give that to Pernell Whitaker. But... Yes. Second best fighter ever. Definitely best fighter, defensive fighter of this generation. Best athlete, most likely. Second best athlete. Roy Jones Jr. is probably the best athlete I've ever seen in the ring, just athletically. Floyd again, second best athlete ever. First best athlete of this generation. I don't know what more you want me to say. All I said is Conor McGregor did a damn good job for a guy that's 0-0-0 in boxing. Point blank. That's it. End of discussion. Nobody can argue otherwise. For a guy that's 0-0-0 in boxing, that was a hell of a performance. Win, lose, or draw. That's all there is to it. Nobody. We sat here and all said we think Floyd's gonna win, and Floyd won. you know. But we thought, I at least thought, I know you thought as well, you know, to some extent, that Conor would do better than most people thought. And, you know, I was very adamant about that because in the day we did that show, a lot of people were like, this shouldn't even be happening. It shouldn't, you know, it shouldn't be, you know, this shouldn't even be a fight. It's a bullshit fight. It's a money grab, blah, blah, blah. Of course it's a money grab. Every fight that's a big fight is a money. The fight tonight is a money grab. Okay? Like, it's still it still has the potential to be an amazing fight. Just because it's a money grab, why do you think Triple G hasn't fought anybody? Why, you know, he's waiting to fight. He doesn't want to risk the 0 unless the money is worth losing the 0. You know? And now he has a fight that the money is worth the risk because he's going to get paid a lot of money for it. You know, and that's what it really comes down to. So in its own right, this is a money grab too. But of course, Conor wanted to win. He trained hard. He clearly came out. He trained to box. He did a good job. You know, Leo said Oscar made it a money grab because nobody wanted to fight Triple G. You got to realize that Triple G, that's not true, man. Andre Ward was calling out Triple G for years. Bernard Hopkins wanted his final fight of his career to be against Triple G. He asked him directly, said, please fight me for my last fight. Triple G declined. There were guys that wanted to fight Triple G. Triple G did not want to fight those guys. Why? Because Triple G wanted to stay at 160 pounds no matter what, never move that weight class, and that was his objective. For whatever reason, you know, I disagree with it. I know GI doesn't mind it as much, but I always, you know, that's why I like Canelo. Canelo moved around in weight and took fights where they were. He lost to Floyd. He went, you know, up and down. He went to 160 pounds. He went to 154, 147. He moved around. He took fights. Wherever there were good fights to have, he went and took them. He took risks.
That's what I say about. That's what I mean about Triple G. Triple G, his main goal was to be the middleweight champion, the undisputed middleweight champion.
Craig is still so mad.
Even as an amateur, he was a 160 fighter all his life. The thing is, in order to get somebody to fight, the whole thing with Ward was I never felt it was that important for Triple G to fight Ward because it wasn't gonna be a humongous money fight.
But bro, at one point it wouldn't be. But when Ward was first asking to fight Triple G, that would have been a pretty big money fight. But Triple G,
that's when Ward had just come back, and Ward wasn't really putting in a lot of work, and he had just beaten Delvin Rodriguez with the Dominican kid.
But at the end of the day, it's still the best fight Triple G could have made. You know, at that point in time, it would have been the biggest name he could have fought, and he didn't want to do it. Instead, he was fighting Willie Monroe Jr.'s, and you know,
why go up? Why go up for something that's not worth your time? If you know that
it is worth it. That's the best name you would have ever beat.
I don't know because
that's just a notch on your resume.
168 pounds and then work your way back down to 160 and then keep fighting there. And then if you don't want to fight other people at 168 because they're just not worth it, then either way it was lose for him anyway. Because if he beat Ward at 168, then the other people would have challenged him for 168.
That's
okay. That's something he wanted.
But he don't gotta fight them. He just made that's a money fight. He goes.
But either way, it would have.
Think about it right now, right? Think about what's happening right now. Let's put it in perspective. He's about to fight Canelo, right?
Yeah.
And that's the first really huge name, and he's 38 years old. All right, Danny Jacobs is the best fighter probably that he's ever fought before Canelo. And he's 38. Okay? If he had fought Andre Ward, even if they just said, all right, you know what, I want to make this fight, let's fight at 164. Let's just make a catchweight fight 10 rounds, no titles. I don't care what it's for. It's just a fight because if you believe you can beat that man, then you go ahead and you fight him and you beat him. So if you beat Andre Ward, let's say you were the guy that sent Bernard Hopkins through the ropes instead of some other guy, okay, and ended his career. Yeah. And now you go to fight Canelo? Guess how much more money you're making tonight than you are now? Way more money. Because you have way better wins on your resume if you had taken those fights. But instead, he's a guy that goes and fights pay-per-views and can't even get 150,000 buys on a pay-per-view. Because he's fighting nobody. Nobody paid for the Lemieux fight. That was on pay-per-view. Nobody's buying that fight. You know, like, because nobody cares about Lemieux. It's like, it doesn't make sense to... It does to some degree. I understand, you know, boxing, a lot of it is about zeros. You know, you need zeros on your record. But at some point, I mean, Canelo is the bigger star right now. He's making more money, and he's got a 1. He don't have a 0. He's got a 1 there. And he's still the A side in this fight. He's going to get paid more than Triple G for this fight. So, you know, he sells more pay-per-views. So he's got the 1, and it still works. I think there's too much... You
saw Triple G fight Jacobs, right?
Yep. And I thought he lost that fight by 1 round, honestly.
But you saw the way he fought Jacobs, right? It was a 160 versus a 160.
Yeah.
And Triple G going up in weight.
Yep.
Just after watching that fight, you can tell that he would slow down, and he would be a slower fighter.
But he wouldn't have known that when Ward was asking to fight him. You know,
he probably does know that.
I mean, that's a limitation, but I mean, why is that a limitation for him when a guy like Manny Pacquiao can go from whatever he started out at 120 to 154?
But not everybody's Manny Pacquiao.
I know, but Triple G is the you know, supposedly the king right now. He's the man, right? But he can't go from 160 to 168.
But that's just like saying, okay, why didn't Mike Tyson go down? You can't wish of one fighter just because he's really good at knockouts or whatever.
No, I totally get that.
In his division,
I get that.
His weight class, you can't wish him to go higher or lower just because you're waiting to see a loss.
It's not to see a loss; it's to see a fight, to see a real fight.
No, because if Ward wanted to really see a fight, Ward would have gone down to 160.
And if Triple G really wanted to see a fight, he would have went up to 168. He walks around big enough to fight at 168.
There was no reason for Triple G to go up.
And there's no reason for Ward to go down.
Ward needed to go down because Ward had just come back after two.
No, but Ward, look at Ward's resume. Look at the guys Ward's beat in his career. He's fought.
It was almost 3 years ago.
Doesn't matter. That time. Triple G came to this country, to the United States, and started fighting when? 2012?
He was here. He's been here for. Well, at that time, he was here for like 2 years.
Yeah, but when did he come? 2012, 13, something like that? When he had his first fight in the U.S.?
I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was 2013.
Okay, so if we go.
So what I'm saying is, you know, Triple G. In the span that he's been in the U.S., actually able to fight, you know, fighters that are known for, you know, for U.S. wise, he's done a lot. He's done a lot.
It looks like 2000.
Because there's no middleweights that are super known. Like that's not his fault. That's the class that he wants to be in, and that's the class he's dominating. If anybody wants to go into that class, they can also go down to that class. So you can't just always say it's Triple G, it's Triple G. It's both ends. You don't know if for some reason Ward was asking for more money than Triple G should get, not even a 50-50 break, and Triple G was not going to take that.
Yeah, listen. I mean, all of that could or could not be valid. We don't know what happened behind the scenes, but yeah. Potalu makes a good point here. You know, so, right? He was sparring Kovalev, and Kovalev said he was the hardest hitter. Supposedly, he knocked Kovalev down. Kovalev's much bigger. Kovalev's even bigger than Andre Ward. So yeah, why can't he fight him?
But does it mean that Triple G is still as fast? Triple G might not lose the power.
He was fast enough to knock down Kovalev. Did Ward knock down Kovalev? Nope. So
I mean, that Ward versus Kovalev fight is a whole other story. I won't get into that one. You know, they should. I just say there should be a third one to that fight because I wasn't happy with that.
Yeah, I thought they were. You know, I would watch that fight again. You know, but I'm trying to find the first fight that he actually had. It's hard for me to see in the U.S. But it looks like it was 2012 because I don't see U.S. before that. It shows I can't say this guy's name. Grzegorz Proksa, but it says it was a Turning Stone Resort and Casino.
Yeah, actually, I saw that fight. I think I've seen all of Triple G's fights.
So that was the first one, right?
Yeah, when he fought Proksa, and Proksa was actually he was very good at the time. and Triple G came in. He came in to take that fight. He had just arrived and was working with Abel Sanchez, and he took that fight not last minute, but close to that, and he ended up knocking out Prox out.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Triple G's resume, and that's what bothers me. You know, like compared to, I'm getting I think I hear your speakers, Jai. Myself talking.
You do?
Yeah, it just started right now. Now it's gone. When I look at his resume, right, I don't care if he wants all the belts at middleweight, whatever the case may be. Like, why would you spend your whole career there if I don't care. Let's just say it's true. Nobody wants to fight him, right? They didn't want to fight. You know, the guy, what's the guy's name? Man, the one that lost to Jacobs when Jacobs knocked him out, but never fought Triple G, the champion at the time. What was his name?
You talking about what the fuck is his name? He got knocked out by Jacobs?
Yeah, I just can't remember his name right now. But everybody was saying he didn't want to fight Triple G. And he was avoiding Triple G all the time. But he went in and he fought Jacobs and got knocked out.
Quillen?
Quillen, that's it. Peter Quillen. That was the guy. Right? So he was okay to fight Jacobs, but he didn't want to fight Triple G. Then you have the whole, you know, Andre Ward was clearly asking to fight Triple G. Bernard Hopkins wanted his last fight to be Triple G.
Quillen didn't want to fight Triple G.
He might not have wanted to. I don't know. But I'm just saying the man had no problem getting in there with Danny Jacobs.
Yeah, the only problem that I ever heard with Ward and Triple G was not that he didn't want to fight him. It was the money.
Yeah,
it was the money. It was the contract,
and that's part of the problem, though, right?
They would make an agreement or whatever, not an agreement, but getting close to one.
This is one area where I would say that boxing has a real serious lack, as opposed to MMA at this point. You know, when you have all these different promoters and all these different you know, guys, they're all greedy. They're all, this promoter's guy can't fight this promoter's guy. This guy doesn't want to accept this amount of money. It makes it tough on boxing to make good fights, you know, because you got guys that won't fight each other for whether they're scared, whether they're afraid to lose O's, whether the money isn't considered right. You know, it's crazy to me that we've come to that in boxing. You know, greed was always around in boxing, even in the 80s. Don King was a bastard, you know what I mean? But good fights were still happening all the time. Now, you know, somebody's saying, who said Triple G's a bum? I think Triple G is a decent fighter, but I just think Triple G hasn't used his talent to the full potential that he could have if he had fought other guys, you know, and stopped just hanging around in the middleweight division. You know, and moved around a little, even if he had to move down. I mean, my problem with Triple G is this, right? You got, you know, this is one that makes no sense to me. Triple G's on record. I will go down to 154 pounds and fight Floyd Mayweather if he wants to fight me. Why? Why would you do that, Triple G? Why? Because money. It's worth my I'll lose it because I'm gonna get that money.
Of course.
That's what it is. But then comes Laura, let's fight, 154. Nah, I don't want to fight you. I can't go to 154. I'm okay.
The money wasn't going to be there.
Then comes Canelo. Let's fight at 154. Nah, I'm okay. Only Floyd. Only Floyd. Nobody else. You want to fight me, come to 160.
Remember how big...
But if it was all about the belts, all about the 160 belts, but I'll fight Floyd, no problem. That's my Triple G problem. That's the biggest Triple G problem I have right there. You don't want to fight anybody outside of 160, but Floyd, sure, why not?
I mean, anybody would fight Floyd. I mean, look at McGregor. He came from the UFC to fight Floyd. Not because he wanted a title, but because he wanted $100 million in his pocket.
Julio says, I'm saying his record isn't impressive. All right, Julio. Let's just go here. You tell me, Julio, right now, how many of these names you actually know. Gabor Ballo, Saihira Navarka, Daniel Urbanski, Martins Kukulis, Jorge Ariel Garcia, Sylvain Gomez, Simon Mokiona. G.I., how many of these guys do you know right now that I've said so far? Be honest. Completely honest.
But you're talking about the first guys.
Yeah, I'm talking about. It doesn't matter. Those are on his pro record. I'm starting at the bottom.
No, those guys. I have probably Sergio Rios. I've heard of.
This is the beginning of his career, right? So I can't even say that guy's name. Saihari Kamitsky, Mehdi Boudal, Tshepo Mashigo, Ian Gardner, Ibrahim Seed, Amar Amari.
I know Ibrahim.
Malik Diziara, Javier Alberto Mamani, Anthony Greenidge, John Anderson Carvalho, Mikhail Makarov.
Are you going in order?
Yeah, I'm going in order of his whole career.
Okay.
Milton Nunez. Nilson Julio Tapia.
Yeah, I know Tapia.
Kasim Uma. And Kasim Uma, I know. I know him. And a couple, like you said, one or two of the earlier guys, okay? But and Julio says all legends. All of them are legends. Most of these guys, nobody's ever heard of, man. When you get to his first fight in the U.S., all right, Proxka, I know who Proxka was. Gabriel Rosado, I know who he was. Just because you know who a guy is doesn't mean he's that good, though. Right?
But I mean, Gabriel Rosado's not bad either.
He's okay. You know, like not bad, but it's hard to say. The problem is, Willie Monroe Jr. is my perfect prime example of a problem. All right, when Triple G, this was only in 2015, was announced that he was fighting Willie Monroe Jr. Okay, when Andre Ward was trying to fight him at that time, and there was the whole beef and stuff going back and forth about those guys. All right, everyone went, "Oh, who the hell is Willie Monroe Jr.?" So many people were saying that. And then they went, "Oh, wait, he's undefeated. That must mean he's not so bad. He's undefeated. He's got to be decent. He's already about to be, he was like 19-0 or something, right?" Okay. You want to know how good Gabriel Rosado is? Guess who beat Gabriel Rosado?
Who?
Willie Monroe Jr. So, it's like...
Didn't Salido beat Gabe Rosado too?
But that's what I mean. Like, it's not a huge achievement for Triple G to beat him if Willie Monroe Jr. beat him too. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's look at Willie. Everybody went, "Oh, Willie Monroe Jr. is not that bad, right?" Eric Quinteros, Edward Smith, Wilson Montero, Chris Aucoin, Torrance King, Tyson Schwieger, Troy Artis, Ibrahim King, Lauren Myers, Mikey Scarborough, Darnell Boone. He fought Darnell Boone at the BB King Blues Club and Grill in New York City, by the way.
Yeah.
Mark Anderson, Russell Jordan, Michael Walker, Torres Smith, Miguel Alvarez, Donatas Bondarovas, Vitaly Kopilenko, who also, by the way, Vitaly was 22-0 and nobody knows who he is. Okay? And he also fought nobody. And this is what I mean. In boxing today, you can become 22-0, 25-0, 19-0. Deontay Wilder. Who's Deontay Wilder really beat? He's got this big name. He's all famous now.
He hasn't really beaten anybody of
but
name.
He doesn't. He's never fought. Like, I mean, it's not that he's never fought. He's fought a few good guys, but he spent most of his career fighting nobody too. This is not a Triple G problem. This is a boxing problem. This is a problem where they allow fighters to do this, right? Now he's about to fight. Now he beat up. He lost to Triple G, right? And then he beat John Thompson, beat Gabriel Rosado, and now he's getting to fight Billy Joe Saunders. I think all these guys are.
That's today, actually.
Yeah, he's fighting Billy Joe Saunders today. The problem, and that's part of the problem I feel with boxing. In all reality, with it is that there's too much of this going on. It's too much of guys not fighting the best guys and trying to keep these zeros intact. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because if you're an exciting fighter, you're gonna get fights.
Look at the middleweights though in that time, right? Well, besides Gabe Rosado, Matthew Macklin, Curtis Stevens, Marc Antonio Rubio, Daniel Gill, Martin Murray.
Listen, I'm not saying those guys in the middle. They were all ranked middleweights. I get that, but it doesn't mean they're good. You know what I'm saying?
But
Like the middleweight division was in a
that's
bad
the
suppression.
crop, though, in that division.
But it was in a bad suppression at that time. There wasn't much talent there to begin with. You know,
Right, but I'm just saying. What I'm trying to point out is none of that is Triple G's fault.
No, I'm not saying it's his fault.
Division.
The quality of opponents in the division is not his fault. Staying in the division, regardless of the quality of opponent, is his fault. He could easily have fought Andre Ward, even if it was a catchweight, 164, whatever. Figure something out. Make it work. If you want to be a legend, you make legendary fights. That's my point. You figure out how to do it. You know, you go ahead and look at Canelo's box rec, right? Let's check that out real quick, and you see what he's done, and who he's decided to fight. And Canelo, you have to remember, Canelo turned pro at 15 years old. All right, but Canelo, okay, started super young. I mean, he's got 50-something fights. It's crazy. Like for whatever he's at now, I forget his actual record at this point. It's where is it? He's got 51 fights, so I think he's 49-1-1. That's what he's at if he's got 51 fights, unless they're counting Golovkin now. But you know, you look at, where do we start with here? You can go back to Mexico. Just fights in Mexico. 2005. Where are we? No, 2007. Christian Solano. I know who that is. It doesn't mean he's a very good fighter, but he's 22-9. You know, he's an experienced fighter. I know who he is, at least.
But it's you see what it is? It's always been like that, though. I don't know why. This is nothing new.
No, the early part of a career is expected to be like that sometimes, but once you start that takeoff,
Mike Tyson's career was also full of new fighters. No, well, not so new, because there was some that had there was that one guy that had like 14-9.
Here you go back to 2010 though. Okay, here's one right here. Jose Miguel Cotto, right? That's not Miguel Cotto, but Jose Miguel Cotto is not a bad fighter. Okay, so that's 2010, and after that, you get Carlos Baldemir, okay, in there.
Hey, Roland, how's it going?
Huh?
No, I was saying hi to Roland.
You got Matthew Hatton, Alfonso Gomez, Kermit Cintron, Shane Mosley, Josecito Lopez, Austin Trout, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Alfredo Angulo, Erislan Dalari, James Kirkland, Miguel Cotto, Amir Khan, right? That's a completely different resume than Triple G's. And this went from 147 to 154.
But that's just the names. But that's not the quality.
To 160. No, but it's not just names. Miguel Cotto
and Amir Khan is just because their names are great doesn't mean that the quality.
But I think most people can agree that Amir Khan and Miguel Cotto, okay, are better fighters than Dominic Wade, David Lemieux, and Willie Monroe Jr. I think that's a clear consensus. It would be silly to say it otherwise. Amir Khan, Miguel Cotto, Erislan Lara, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Austin Trout, okay? Those guys are all better than anybody Triple G's fought. That's my point. You know, it's like the guy went around all the way up to 160 to fight guys from between 147 and 160 to make fights. You know? And whether he was going to win, lose, or draw those fights, he went and made them. He said, I'm going to fight Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather was cheap with him, too. You remember the purse? It was cheap. He was very stingy with it because he said he didn't deserve much. And he said, I don't care. I'm still going to fight him. And it was still more money than he ever made, and he took it, and he took the fight. You know, and that's what it is. I mean...
But you see, but you also got to be smart with your money, too, because that was a big mistake in Canelo's part.
Why? He just shot himself into a new stratosphere after that fight. Everyone said, oh, you know, he lost, but he fought admirably, you know, and he went 12 rounds with him.
Because of that fight, a lot of people have now think that Canelo's not as good as people say he is. Even though they've seen him knock
but he went right back out there and he
360 knockout punch.
Yeah, I mean, look,
don't think he's that good because Floyd Mayweather made him look silly and beat him down.
But then he went out and he TKO'd Alfredo Angulo, right? He won against Arislandi Lara by split decision. He knocked out James Kirkland right after that. He went to decision by Miguel Cotto. And then he KO'd Amir Khan. You know what I mean? Like, then look at how he dominated Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
How many people have KO'd Amir Khan with that kind of power?
Amir Khan's lost 3 times, including
but
you know. But that's
all you need to do is hit
yeah. But listen, but the point is this. The point is this, right? You can knock out Amir Khan if you hit him hard enough, but Amir Khan's fought some pretty good dudes, and they can't catch him, right? So for people that think that Canelo can't counterpunch or is not quick enough to land a good shot against somebody, Amir Khan is quick and slick. He still caught him. He still KO'd him. You know, he went the full distance with Miguel Cotto. That was a good fight. You know, I'm just saying the resumes don't compare. The size difference doesn't compare either, though. Triple G is a much bigger man than Canelo. When they fight tonight, you'll see it. You know.
He's tall. He's a taller guy.
You know, and I think that's you know, that's one thing to consider during this fight as well. But let's talk about the actual fight, right? Because we're already going on it for quite a while here. I think at the end of the day, my personal opinion on Triple G is, if you look at, you remember the movie A Bronx Tale, when Robert De Niro tells his son, "Wasted talent, son. There's nothing worse in life than wasted talent, or nothing sadder in life than wasted talent." That's what I think about Triple G. I think Triple G has been in the spotlight and being hyped up for so long, and yes, he did his job at middleweight, right? I'm not saying he didn't fight middleweights or ranked middleweights. He did, but
4 years.
Yeah, but he didn't take any big name fights when they called him out and they wanted to fight him. He never did what he needed to do to go up in that stratosphere. He just said, "I'm gonna let HBO keep hyping me up and keep knocking out nobodies." To me, right, my biggest problem that I keep saying is, did he break the record already for consecutive title defenses from Bernard Hopkins? Did he break that now?
Yes, and he beat Tyson's knockout streak.
And I understand that it's not.
He beat it.
I understand that it's not the same and whatever, because he still fought who he could fight. I'm not putting all the blame on him, but it's sad to me to know that Bernard Hopkins' record.
Actually, I don't think he has beaten Bernard's.
Well, when he does, if he does, it's sad to me that the resume that he's gonna beat it with is what it is, and I'm not blaming it all on him. Part of it is just, you know, boxing. You know, it's what happens in boxing now. But at the end of the day, the way I see it is, I think he's a good fighter. I think he has some flaws for sure, and they've been kind of exposed in more recent fights. I thought Danny Jacobs fought him very smart, very well, put out a decent blueprint on a way that you could beat Triple G. The problem is, Canelo is not the size of Danny Jacobs. His blueprint has to be different. But people are asking who I'm going to root for in the chat, or who, you know, what I think is, I think, honestly, for my rooting, I got to root for Canelo. I will root for Canelo, and the reason I'll root for Canelo is because he's the guy with the resume. He's the guy that said, "I'm going to fight Floyd Mayweather, and I'll lose my O if I lose it. I don't care. I'm going to go up to middleweight, even when my body isn't that big, and fight Miguel Cotto." Then, granted, Cotto was kind of a safe middleweight fight because he's not a real middleweight either. You know, but still, he said, "I'll go to 160. I'll fight for the middleweight belt." And now he's going to 160 again. And he's going to fight the most feared, baddest man in 160, right? So who has balls? Who goes and fights wherever he needs to fight to say, "I'm the best fighter there is"? That's Canelo Alvarez. That's the man that goes and does it where he needs to do it and doesn't care. He'll move weight classes. And so I will root for that man to win. You know why? Because that man is better for the sport of boxing than Triple G is. Because he's a real man that goes around and fights. Huh? Who do I think is gonna win though? Is that what you?
What do you have him winning by?
I don't think Canelo's gonna win, but I'm rooting for him to win.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I will root for Canelo. You know, the problem was, yeah, Ben saying it was not 160. Yeah, they fought at a little bit lighter weight than 160, whatever it was, 156 or something when it was the. But that was because Cotto is also a smaller guy. He's fighting 160 right now against Triple G. You know, and Triple G's been waiting 2 years for Canelo. Yeah, Triple G's been waiting for a small little guy to go up to 160 pounds. That's what he's been waiting for. He took Kell Brook as an experiment beforehand, and that was interesting too, you know. But the problem is, I just think that Triple G is fighting a much smaller man, and I think Canelo is the better actual boxer. I think he has better skills, but smaller size is going to play a factor as well because of the power that Triple G possesses. Not to say that I don't think Canelo can win. I think he can, because I think Triple G's chin has never really been fully tested, but the few times he's been hit pretty clean, I've seen his knees buckle a little bit. So if Canelo can catch him clean,
chin hasn't been tested.
Triple G's. He hasn't really, you know.
Yeah, he has.
By who?
Jacobs.
That's it. One guy.
Jacobs hit him hard, and
Yeah,
so did Lemieux. And Lemieux's a hard hitting puncher. He's a knockout puncher. And so did Kell Brook, which is what you guys keep mentioning. Kell Brook with the uppercut.
Kell Brook is a small little man compared to Triple G, and
I
Kell
mean,
Brook.
small. You guys keep saying small, but I mean, so was Tyson. Tyson was small too.
No, that's different, bro. Once you're 200 pounds or better, you can throw a punch with so much force that you can knock out a 300-pound man with no problem. But when you're 100,
I have a little cousin named Devin. He's 5'2".
Yeah,
and he can knock out 6 foot guys with no problem.
Listen, that might be true, but he's fighting a guy with his bare fists, okay? And that might be true.
I'm just saying, it makes a difference a little bit. I get what you're saying, but it's
Speed?
not like
No. But here you go. This is all science and math. Speed times mass equals force. So mass is the size of your arms, the weight of them, and speed is how fast you can push that weight together, and that's how hard you can hit somebody. It has to be.
Yeah, but it's also the way you hit somebody too that determines on how you knock out the person.
Of course, there's other things like distance and where your shot lands. I get all that, but yeah, I'm just talking mathematically here. It is impossible for a man that weighs 120 pounds, right, to throw a punch with the same amount of force as a man that weighs 160 pounds. That's what I'm saying.
But he doesn't have to, because all he has to do is
he has to catch him in the right spot.
Right,
you know, but that's different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying but it's a lot harder when you got a big pillow on your fist to always land the right spot. When you're in a street fight, you're a small guy and you got a little fist, you can hit somebody in the temple, behind the ear, in the chin a lot easier, cleanly, than when you got a giant 10-ounce glove on your hand and you got to try to land on exactly the right spot. If you're, you know, it's just physically impossible mathematically to do that. So
you remember Pacquiao and Marquez?
Yeah, that was a perfectly placed punch when he knocked him out.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with Marquez's strength, because Marquez's arm was still way back here. Yeah, it's just that Manny landed. He fell right into it.
It was a perfectly landed shot. I get that. That can happen to anybody, but that's not what happens every day in boxing. Not everybody gets hit perfectly in every fight. It happens pretty rare.
Canelo can do that because Canelo's a perfect
I agree.
Counter puncher.
That's why I wouldn't be surprised if he wins. I think he has a chance, but I think he has to do it early. I kind of see his chance the way you saw Conor's chance. He's got to be able to, and it's not because he'll run out of gas. It's because Triple G is going to be so much bigger and stronger, and he's not a bad fighter. He's going to be able to land. He's got talent. It's not that he doesn't have it, so he'll land. And over time, that's going to wear Canelo, the smaller man, down. He'll wear down faster than Triple G will, because he's smaller. And I think that plays a role to some extent, you know?
I think Triple G is going to, if he gets a knockout in this fight, it's going to be around the 8th round.
I could see that.
And,
8 to 10, somewhere in there, if he gets it. You know.
Yeah, it's gonna be around the 8th round, and
I tell you what, though.
I think he's gonna play him just like he played Lemieux. I think I told you this before. He's gonna play him the same way he played Lemieux, because what a lot of people don't get about Triple G is that a lot of people think that Triple G is just an attacker, and he just likes to knock people out. Not all the times. When he fought Lemieux, he understood Lemieux has some power behind those hands. So instead of just being aggressive with him, what he did was started using his jab, and that completely nullified Lemieux.
Yeah, but I think
I think that's exactly what he's going to do with Canelo.
But I don't think he's going to have the same success. I think nullifying Lemieux is a lot easier than nullifying Canelo. Lemieux is not on Canelo's level, skill-wise.
No, he's not. He's not. You know? But I think that's the strategy that he's going to use. He's going to use the jab.
If he's smart, that's what I'd use too. And I'd go to the body early. You know, spend my time going downstairs with hard shots.
And remember, Triple G's left jab it's also a knockout jab.
He's got a hell of a jab. And that's what I mean. Over time, the smaller guy, even if it's jabs to the gut, jabs upstairs. You know, I think Canelo's chin will be able to hold up to Triple G. I think it's his body that's going to break over time. And that's why I think if Triple G's smart, he goes to the body repeatedly, early and often, to wear him down as the fight goes on. However, I think Canelo has enough power to hurt Triple G. And if he catches him with a clean, you know, counterpunch, it's a tough fight to call. You know, I will root for Canelo for the reasons I said earlier. You know, I feel like he's better for the sport of boxing. He fights the right way. He takes the risks. He moves around weight classes to make exciting fights. I respect those things in a fighter, especially when your sport is not doing so well. To move around and say, I'll fight anybody. You know, win, lose, draw, whatever. I'm gonna fight them. You know, I'll take that chance. And now he's doing it again. You know, Triple G refused to come down or even a catchweight. They tried this already. Triple G said no. You know, so Canelo said, all right, whatever, fine. Eventually, you get everything you want. I'm going to go to 160. I'm going to fight you at 160. And he agreed to it. But, you know, this fight is only happening because Canelo agreed. If Canelo didn't agree to fight at 160, Triple G would still be fighting. He'd probably be fighting Willie Monroe Jr. in a rematch tonight instead of Billy Joe Saunders fighting him. All right.
I think what made this fight happen was actually when Canelo said that he was willing to take him on even that same night. Remember when he knocked out
after the Chavez fight?
Well, I don't know. No, it was Amir Khan.
Oh, the Khan fight. Yeah.
Because he beat Chavez Jr. and then that's when they did the whole WWE thing where Triple G came in like Undertaker.
Yeah, no, but they already had that done.
The Amir Khan, he said, you know, we can do this tonight, and he said, you know, I have balls or whatever, and he made that whole statement. They responded that they wanted it, and then he skipped that fight, which if I'm not mistaken, that's the fight that Triple G agreed to let Canelo take versus Cotto. Triple G had let Canelo fight Cotto, because he was supposed to fight Triple G, and then he went ahead.
Cotto never wanted to fight Triple G, and I don't blame him. Cotto's even smaller than Canelo. You know what I mean? Like,
Cotto's smart. Cotto was smart about that.
And but, he's old. You know, I
don't know what Cotto's doing back again because he came back as a middleweight and knocked this dude out. I hope he's not thinking of fighting Triple G because that's gonna be a bad idea.
I mean, if he wants to do it, by all means, you know, Cotto's a warrior. I take nothing from the man. That man.
Yeah, but I'd rather see him in the Bronx, you know, able to speak English and Spanish, and then in the Bronx not able to speak at all.
Roland's asking what time's the actual fight start. I think it's around 11:30. It's yeah, Julio says, I've seen... Of course, dude. Small dudes. Listen, I'm not a big dude. I've knocked out way bigger dudes than me. But we're talking about a boxing match, Julio, not a street fight. I explained that. When you got these big pillows on, that's not the same as a street fight. You can land in somebody's temple in exactly the right spot much easier. You know, when you have a bare-knuckle fist to go with. There's a lot of different things you can do. Floyd's entire defense in boxing would not work at all if you were fighting somebody bare knuckle. It doesn't even come close. He'd be knocked out. You know, Guys like Cotto would have knocked him out. If they fought bare-fisted and he tried to fight that same style he fought Cotto, he would have been KO'd. Like, it works because there's boxing gloves on. The same way landing those shots are harder because there's boxing gloves on in exactly the right spot. You know, you remember the uppercut?
Before anything happens, because I know that Billy and Willie are going into the ring now.
Are they?
I'm going to say right now.
You want to pick a prediction for that fight? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, I'm going to say Willie Monroe on the 6th.
You're crazy. Billy Joe Saunders wins that fight, bro. Willie Monroe, yeah, I mean, listen, Willie Monroe is not, you know, I mean, I'm not a big Billy Joe Saunders fan. Honestly, I don't think he's that, you know, like, guys, don't mistake me. When I say somebody's not that good, I'm not saying that, I'm saying not that good as compared to somebody like Triple G or Canelo. Not that they're not good at all or that they're, you know, they're still fighters. They lace them up. They get in there. Much respect to them, you know. But there's elite level fighters. Then there's, you know, pretty good fighters or very good fighters, pretty good fighters, decent fighters, you know. You know, I'm not a big Billy Joe Saunders fan either. Although I think his son already took some of the stamina out of Willie Monroe Jr. at the weigh-in. So, you know, that low blow already got him. He lost a round of stamina.
I think when the fight starts, the ref is going to stop it, be like, oh, hold on a second, and then give Billy Joe Saunders a point.
But, I mean, all right, so let's go official prediction here so we don't stay on here forever and we get ready to get stuff.
I said Triple G, 8th round knockout.
How do you see it? Give me a prediction for the fight in general. How about we do that? How do you see the rounds play out early? Like, not every round, but like, do you see Canelo, you know, starting off winning early rounds and then Triple G starts to get more aggressive later, or is Triple G aggressive out of the gate? What do you think?
Triple G is gonna be aggressive out of the gate, but he's gonna be aggressive in the way where he's gonna be throwing his jabs in. Canelo is more of a counter puncher, so Canelo's gonna be trying to find a counter punch. Then towards the 4th round, he's gonna realize that it's not working for him. So he's going to start to pick up the pace and get more aggressive. By that time, Triple G will be warm enough to go ahead and brawl with Canelo. It's going to be a few good hits in between the 5th and the 6th. And by the 8th round, I see the knockout happening. Somebody at my door.
I got the same bell, so I'm like, is that me? Is that you?
You make your prediction. I'll get the door.
All right. So my prediction for this fight, like I said, I'm rooting for Canelo, but I predict Triple G in the 10th round will win by essentially a TKO, because it's going to be body shots, I think, that put Canelo down, and Canelo will just not be able to get back up. But he's not going to get, like, I don't think he'll get laid out cold. I think he'll take a knee from too many body shots. But the way I see that's my official prediction for what I think will happen. But again, I'm not surprised. I can see Canelo hurting him as well, and maybe even possibly finishing him early, but it has to be early. For me, I think this fight goes early on to Canelo. I think he wins early rounds. I think Triple G tries to focus an attack on the body that will slow Canelo down over time. So early on in the fight, while Canelo's still fresh, I think he will land some good shots, and that's going to be the most dangerous point in time, I think, for Triple G tonight. Once Triple G's concentrated body attack has done its job, which I would think would probably happen somewhere around 7th, 8th round, where you'll see Canelo definitely start to slow down, maybe his hands dropping a little bit because of those body shots. I give it 10th round TKO. Triple G wins by body shots, where Canelo just ends up taking a knee and just can't, you know, he can't stand up. Too many body shots. Triple G hits hard, I give him that. But again, I mean, that's what I think will happen. But I totally would not be surprised to see. I think Canelo is the better fighter. I really do. It's just the size difference. And Canelo's never been in this position to fight somebody this big, so we don't know. I think his chin will take the shots. I just don't think his body holds up. That's my prediction. Anyway, but if you want a second one, in the way, like, not really a second one, but the way I can see Canelo winning would be somewhere around the 5th round by KOing Triple G. However, mark my words, GI. If this fight goes to a decision, Canelo Alvarez is the winner. If this fight goes 12 rounds to a decision. Because that means Triple G did not do his job and work that body and get Canelo to slow down enough. If Canelo is still there in 12, I think he can win the fight.
I don't think he's gonna be able to get it in decision. No, because Triple G is gonna be outscoring Canelo, especially if he's gonna use the jab the whole time. So.
Nah, I don't see that. I can't see that. I think Canelo has better boxing skills than Triple G. If you're going to a straight boxing match where a 12-round fight takes place, the counter punching of Canelo will be enough to make Triple G stop throwing that jab. If he wants to throw it all night, he's gonna have to throw it to a lot of different places and disguise it pretty well. Because one thing that David Lemieux is not is a counter puncher that's anywhere close to as good of a counter puncher as Canelo Alvarez is. CW thinks Canelo will fight smart and Triple G will try too hard for the drama show and gas out. I don't know. I think Triple G's smarter than that. I kind of agree more with Julio. I think Triple G walks him down and puts pressure on him. But that's where Canelo is most dangerous, because when you walk him down and you put the pressure on is when you open yourself up to the counterpunch. That's why I think early on the fight is dangerous for Triple G. But if he walks him down enough and he can take the shots or Canelo can't land those counters, then Canelo's in big trouble. And by the 10th round, I would expect him to be out of there from too many body shots. It's all about how good Triple G's... the first factor is how well Canelo can counter Triple G, because we know Triple G is going to be aggressive and move forward. How can he counter him? If he can land clean counter shots, the fight is going to be very interesting. If he cannot, it's going to be very ugly. You know, that's really what it is. You know, I think it's going to be ugly. Potelu disagrees with me. He must think Triple G is going to hit Canelo and... oh, it's about skill. You believe that? Triple G has more skill.
Canelo's gonna knock out Triple G in the 8th round.
Guys, listen. Canelo, that could happen. I could see that possibly happening too. That's what I mean. I really like this fight. It's a tough one to give a prediction on. I like it a lot. Because there's a lot of unknowns. I just look at the factors. Triple G has the reach. He has the height. You know, he's probably, I would think, the stronger puncher for sure as well. The harder hitter in general. Not that Canelo's weak by any means, but he's the smaller guy. So the intangibles are in Triple G's favor aside from age. You know, so that's where I lean my experience to, because I think they're both excellent fighters. But the intangibles will work out in Triple G's favor, most likely. But this is a very unknown outcome, because Canelo has never been in this situation before. We don't know. We're going to find out how good his chin is. I'm thinking he's got one of them, you know, rock-solid Mexican chins, man. You know, it's not easy to get the Mexican fighters out of there. They generally have really good chins. Canelo's never shown me an instance where he's been hurt. He took some good shots from Kirkland. He ate them. He didn't wobble. And Kirkland throws hard. So I think he'll be able to take the shots, at least facial-wise. I think the body is what wears down eventually. But I can easily see if he can land good, solid counter punches against Triple G while Triple G's being aggressive, I can see the fight turning out a whole other way and Canelo getting a knockout. It's not my official prediction, but I could see it happening. I wouldn't be shocked. And I agree with Julio. Triple G is definitely open for uppercuts. He leans in. That's where I think that you'll see a difference. I don't think Triple G's defense is very good. I really think he, you know, doesn't have. It's not that he's terrible or anything, but his offensive game is much stronger than his defensive game, and you know that opens up things for a counterpuncher. I don't know. Julio says he saw Canelo rocked a few years ago. I don't recall that, but
I don't recall.
I really don't recall that. I don't know who he would have fought where he got rocked. But I do know he definitely.
Roland put $10 that Triple G's getting it on the 8th.
Triple G and 8. It's possible, man. You know. But the biggest onslaught I've seen Canelo go into was Miguel Cotto. Obviously hit him clean quite a few times, and he was fine with that. But the James Kirkland fight. I mean, James Kirkland is you can say what you want about his overall boxing skill. The man hits hard. He's a beast. He gets lots of KOs. And he caught Canelo with some really good shots in that first round, and Canelo ate them all and just stayed composed. He wasn't rocked. He was good. So I got no qualms about him being able to eat some shots. I think he can definitely take him to the chin. I just don't think that he'll be able to take them body shots. Triple G's got a mean body arsenal when he throws to the body. So I mean, we'll see.
Well, I mean, right now we got Willie Monroe, and he's over there fighting Billy Joe Saunders, and UFC just started, right? 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. UFC just started too. That's yes, sir.
All right.
So, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Any last thoughts on the fight tonight?
Give me a thumbs up if Triple G wins. Give me a smiley face if Canelo wins.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I like to see that, actually. I like that experiment we did last time. That was pretty cool when we did that before. It was a lot of people did it for the we got, look, 5 thumbs. That Julio's hedging his bets.
Thumbs up and smiley faces. Make up your mind which one.
He thinks Triple G is most likely gonna win, but just in case, he's got a couple of smiley faces.
1, 2, 3.
So what do we got here?
4 and 4, 5.
Wow, look at that! A lot of smiley faces.
6 and 4.
More than I would have thought. 1, 2,
6 and 4, Canelo.
Yep, 6-4 Canelo. Yeah, mark my words, guys. If this goes decision, I think if Triple G wins, then I'll be kind of shocked if he wins a decision. If it goes a decision,
oh, it's a tie right now.
It's a tie. Come on, Potelu, go ahead, man. Stick up your thumbs up because we know you love Triple G. For you guys that don't know, he don't like Triple G, but he don't like Canelo. I think even more. He can't stand. I don't know what his problem is with those two guys. He's got a smiley face and his thumbs up. Jeff Wheeler says his money's on me. I
got my picks in on the UFC. Did you put them in?
Yeah, my picks are in. My picks gotta be in, man. I'm trying to take first in the world. I can't miss picks.
Oh, you see, he got Triple G. Oh, so Triple G's up by 4 right now.
Yeah, but I like it. You see, it's a position a lot of people haven't seen. I don't think The bottom line is this, guys. The closing thing I'll say on my part, my last thought. Both of these guys have never been in this situation, so I think it's a really cool fight. Triple G has never fought somebody the caliber of Canelo Alvarez, as far as boxing goes. That's the best fighter he's fought yet. Granted, he's a little small, whatever, but just boxing skill-wise, the best fighter he's fought, right? And Canelo Alvarez has never fought anyone as big as Triple G. He's fought guys, I think, with, obviously you got to say Floyd Mayweather Jr. is more skilled than Triple G, but he's never fought a guy as big and as strong as Triple G. So we're going to see Canelo get tested on how well his chin and body holds up to shots. And we're going to see Triple G get tested against a really solid, boxer and counterpuncher. I already thought Triple G was tested well against Danny Jacobs. But Danny Jacobs is not really a counterpuncher the way Canelo is. He's a good boxer as well. But I actually thought Danny Jacobs won that fight by 1 point. I know Saul thought that Triple G won it by a point. So I wasn't upset at the decision that Triple G won. It could have went either way or a draw. I would have actually liked to see a draw because I thought it was a good fight and I would have wanted to see it again for sure. But maybe we will see it again.
How about Jacobs and Canelo?
I'd watch that too. I think that would be an interesting fight. If Canelo beats Triple G, you better see. I bet you see it happen.
Who you think will win that though?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to really analyze that a little more. I need to watch some more Jacobs tape. to really come up with a sound conclusion. But I actually think Jacobs might be the better. Like he'd give him more boxing trouble than Triple G's going to give him. Like skill wise, just boxing, not brawling type fight. I think he might be able to give him trouble if he kept it a straight up boxing match. Just off the top of my head right now, but see,
Tony
so
we'll see what happens tonight. You guys, again, if you're watching the Willie versus Billy Joe,
Julio says Monroe looks like shit.
And the UFC is local right now, so you guys can catch it.
Yeah, get on Fox Sports 1 or whatever, watch it. Get on your subs.
And then as far as Triple G and Canelo, if you can't stream it and it's giving you problems, you can always order it. It's HBO or Ring TV.
There, guys. All right, everybody.
Right,
take care.
Hey, thanks a lot. You guys have a good night.
I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hit them thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, definitely hit the bell so you catch us live when we come back on. We'll be back. All right, stay supreme, everybody. Enjoy the fights. Check it out all over Cody. If you're going, last thing I'll say, if you're on Cody and you're trying to get a free version, go to Bob Unleashed and go into Sheepo. Look there. Also check Mick Sports Central and pay-per-view events, and check what's the last one? Goodfellas. I would check on the free Goodfellas add-on if you're trying to do it for free. Those are the 3 I'd go to. After that, you could try Sports Devil. You'll get maybe some blocky feed, but it might work.
In Box Nation also in there.
You know, and subs are subs. I did a whole video on subs this morning, except it's blocked right now because apparently showing 13 seconds of a soccer match got it blocked. Even though there was no sound and no actual soccer being played, it was a guy just on the sideline. So I'm gonna remove that, re-upload it so you guys can see that. Hopefully by tomorrow I'll have that up again. It was just I was showing like 6 or 7 different subs this morning for you, those of you guys that caught it live. But be good, guys.
Those of you who have the Cell X2, you probably received an update already. It's been updated.
It'll come out within the next 72 hours. Everybody will get it.
Those who haven't, you'll see it.
Yep. You'll get your turn. Just got a new update for that too. Cell X2 is updated. All right, guys. Be supreme. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Bye.